Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Through the Fire. I am your host, Ryan Wickline, and today we're joined by a very special guest. He is the founder of Active and Ageless, Mr. Heath Jones. How you doing today, Heath?
I'm fantastic, Ryan. It's a fantastic day here, nice and sunny, a little bit chilly, but a beautiful day nevertheless here in Sydney, Australia.
Awesome. So the number one question the audience is probably wondering, who is Heath Jones?
Yeah, sure. So who am I? I mostly a medical and health background. I was a registered nurse for many years, predominantly in emergency department. I then went on and joined the military. I was in the army for about 4 years. Always kept up my qualifications post-military with the fitness side of things by becoming a personal trainer, moving into an exercise scientist. I also spent time on the oil rigs as a oil and gas facilities out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the ocean as a medic. And then once I kind of got to the end of time in that industry, I wanted to really get back into the health and fitness space, and more so the health or the preventative health space. So yeah, I opened Active and Ageless Gym, and now subsequent gyms, where we specialise in over 50s fitness, and so that's where I'm at now. We're expanding the business, expanding the vision in terms of different offerings, but that's where we're at. All about healthy aging and improving life through physical activity.
Awesome. What led you to join the military?
Why? I could give you a complex answer. The simple answer is my older brother is in the military, still has been, and he's always been a source of inspiration for me. But I think that the other reason why is I always loved challenging myself physically. When I was a little bit younger, I was probably a bit of a punk, and I probably wouldn't have, I didn't think I would have suited the military. I didn't want to have people tell me what to do. But after many years of my older brother kind of reinforcing that, once you get there and if you do the right thing, you'll actually really enjoy it. Yes, it is the army. It's still tough and you still get disciplined. But I did join, I think probably more so for just the physical aspect and the challenge of it. And when I got there, mate, I was like, why haven't I been doing this for years? I absolutely loved it. I didn't love being yelled at, but I just loved being challenged. I loved every day that you didn't know exactly what you're going to do, what could get thrown at you, whether it was a mental challenge or a physical challenge. Just pushing ourselves beyond your comfort zone pretty much every day. I thoroughly love that. And I've taken, many of those lessons that we learned from my time in the military. I've taken those into everyday life now, and I think to a large extent now, I'm probably more disciplined than when I was in the military. But I have the military to thank for that. So, love my time. But unfortunately, when I was in the army, I did get injured also. So since then, I've had multiple back surgeries, including a spinal fusion. And I would just say it's also helped me understand other people's pain. And I was told many times of many well-meaning doctors and physiotherapists and psychologists that my injury was to a certain extent going to incapacitate me and inhibit me for the rest of my life. They wanted me to put me on, medications and analgesics for the rest of my life and antidepressants. But I didn't want to do any of that. It took a long time and I still deal with the chronic pain that associated with those injuries that I sustained in the army, but I've learned to deal with them a lot better now. And even nowadays, I physically challenge myself a lot, constantly, riding big waves, downhill mountain biking, different challenges, boxing. I put myself into a boxing fight last year, an amateur boxing fight. So love challenging myself, and I suppose almost shunning the narrative in terms of during my time of being injured, which I still, I suppose, am allowing myself to be more physically active and believing that I am more capable than, I suppose, what I was told by so many well-meaning people. So yeah, I love challenging myself. I really do.
How did your amateur boxing match go?
Yeah, good. I had a win. The bloke I fought was 15 years younger than me, which was, it's a big age gap. It was also, a couple of kilograms heavier than me. That was the only match they could find me at the time. But on the night I got a win up, it was a 12-week training camp leading into the fight, which was great. I learned a lot in that time, got very fit. And I think boxing is one of the best skills, whether you ever actually jump in the ring or not, but just the training and even the cerebral challenge of trying to do your combinations and your defensive moves and your footwork. It is extremely challenging. So if anyone thinks that a boxer is simply someone who jumps in the ring and beats the hell out of their opponent or tries to beat the hell out of the opponent, it's it couldn't be any further from the truth. It's a very, very challenging sport, and hence why they call it the sweet science. So a lot to it, but yeah.
You any plans to do it again here in the future?
It's funny you should ask that. I thought about this recently. I mean, I haven't done a lot of boxing in the last couple of years. I've been probably getting back into more of my mountain biking. I'm actually going mountain biking in New Zealand in about 2 weeks. So we're doing some heli biking. So jumping on the helicopter with mountain bikes, dropping us at the top of the mountain, and we'll take a couple of hours to get back down. So I'm doing a lot more of, would you say, extreme activities. I mean, I'm 47 years of age now. I went to Fiji surfing cloud break and restaurants breaks a few months ago. Big waves. I love big waves. I love mountain biking. So I think boxing, I'll always do a little bit of it. Will I ever hop in the ring? I'll hop in the ring for sparring again. But my record's 1-from-1, so I might just retire undefeated.
I love it. What led you to start Active and Aging? Or Active and Ageless? Active and Ageless.
Yeah. And there's a good question, and I do get asked this, and there's probably not one reason. Probably the main reason why is that I did see there was a business demand. I've always been a trainer myself, always been relatively fit myself. Going to gyms and places like that, I would see people that are, a little bit more mature. They were there, which is fantastic. Probably a lot of times doing the wrong thing, potentially leading themselves to injury, but also sometimes, a lot of gyms you go to, there's a lot of meatheads there, and you'd see, some older adults, they looked a little bit intimidated and out of place, the poor things. So, we have gyms out there specifically for females, gyms out there for kids. Why isn't there something for mature adults that, may need specific age-adjusted programs that, don't want to go to doing, boot camp style classes. They need to do something a little bit more, specific for them. So there was that component to it, seeing there was a business demand, but then also with a lot of my, 10, 15 years of severe chronic pain and my back injuries, I would have been physically, well, I was probably older than what I actually was in terms of my body, and a lot of those times that I thought I wasn't capable of doing anything, it was, that was that kind of, we'll just say that negative reinforcement cycle that I was in, that had that pattern for many, many years. And slowly with some, people that I was lucky enough to come into contact with, I slowly got myself out of that. I was told I could never surf again. I could never do this. I could never basically do anything for the rest of my life. I had to go and sit in a chair and take medications. And but then I thankfully didn't believe that. I was able to get myself back to, I think, a pretty, high level of fitness and functionality now. And that's when I started to think, well, there's a lot of other people out there that do have a lot of chronic pain and physical limitations. Can I help these people? Because I would love to help more people that have gone through a similar experience to what I have, but to try and get them back to a certain level of physical health and functionality in a shorter period of time. Because I mean, essentially, I lost many years, and I love being active and doing all these activities that I've talked about, but for years I didn't do that. I wrapped myself in cotton wool, and I look back to those times now, and that was a long time. Like, I'm nearly 50, but that was 10-15 years of my life. So nearly a quarter of my life I didn't do all these activities that I love. So now a lot of the practices, the teachings, a lot of the exercises that I did to get myself back to a good level of fitness, I now employ in my programs now to help our clients, which is great. So I see so many of them now that either do have a certain level of pain, whether that's back pain is obviously a common one, or knee pain through a lot of poor strength and control. We've helped a lot of these people get back through my teachings, through my that's got me back. So now I'm passing it on. So that's it's fantastic, whether that's in person within the classes, or some of the online stuff that we do.
Yeah. How are you able to niche to that age group that you chose, like 50 and older? Because that's like a different niche that no one else is looking at.
Yeah, and there should be. I mean, we do have an aging population. They're a demographic that also realizes now the importance of maintaining their fitness, or being fit, being strong. That will really give them the independence that they need. So we do have, we specialize in group classes. They're individualized training within those group classes at times, because as we age, let's face it, a lot of people do have we'll just say distinctive injuries that can be associated with aging. So look, it's a big demographic that's still relatively untapped. There needs to be more businesses like mine out there that cater for the aging demographic, because they're go-getters. A lot of them really are. They want to not just live longer, they want to live better. And thankfully now there's the education out there. There's sometimes their children are telling them, mum and dad, you need to do this physical exercise if you want to live the best life possible and live as independently as possible. So there's there's a lot to it. It can be a little bit more challenging than if you're training a younger demographic that are a little bit more resilient to exercise. You're going to be a little bit more careful and niche in terms of your exercise programming. But they're a very loyal bunch. If you do the right thing by them, which we hope we do, they're going to tell their friends, and they talk. So thankfully, we get a lot of good referrals, and we get a lot of people that come in with husbands and wives, and friends and relatives and colleagues and that. So it's a great demographic to be in.
Yeah. Do you run like a lot of community, like group classes for them then?
Yeah, so that's what we do. The gym is group classes. So we did have many other offerings initially. We had gym only. We also had individualized programs, and now it is a group class, just group classes. We also do events. We've got an event this Friday night at one of our gyms, which is called Unlocking Lifespan, where we have a physio to come along and talk about certain testing that you can do to VO2 testing, also DEXA scans, which help show your bone mineral densities and your muscle mass. So we do events. We do those events every few months. They're a lot of fun. They kind of always say that they're half educational, half kind of community focused. At the end, we have a bit of food and maybe a wine or a beer or something like that. And after we've also been educated or inspired. So we've had lots of different guest speakers over the years come along and talk to us about whatever their specific set of skills or their area of knowledge is, or people that have come along that's fighting cancer, for example, and are really a source of inspiration for our other members. So we're going to get bigger at the events. We're having higher caliber guest speakers. We're going to take the events out to We've got a gym now interstate up in Queensland, so we'll start doing events there next year to reach out to those people up there and hopefully educate and inspire them as well.
Awesome. So have you found that like the group classes work a lot better because they have like a community, and the
Yeah.
community like it holds them a little bit more accountable and makes it more fun?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. They are more fun. A lot of these people, 50% of them are probably retired. A lot of people may still work or in a part-time capacity. They may even work from home, which you don't get that kind of, that cohesiveness that you do with a, in a work environment where you see people face to face. So, a lot of them lose that human contact. So having the classes that we have, they're not only getting fit and strong and healthy, but they're also there and they're making friends, which is pretty cool. I do see quite often that outside of gym times, I see a lot of people are going out and hanging out for dinners and parties and drinks and going on walks with each other, and they've met through our gym, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
We've been able to, I suppose, facilitate a lot of those relationships and friendships to they all come there with a common reason, and that's because they're there to improve their health and give themselves the best life possible. But they've also made friendships, which is fantastic.
Yeah. That's awesome that they, just showed up at the gym and then met a lot of nice people to kind of hold them accountable and developed a lot of friendships out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, it is cool.
What are some of the barriers that people face when it comes to exercise and nutrition?
What are some of the barriers? I think the main barrier you see, especially with my demographic, is the fear that they are extremely either sick or injured. People are a lot more resilient than what they believe they are. So that is a big barrier. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that have come in and have said, I'm here, but I probably shouldn't be because I've got, my knee, I got knee pain, lower back pain, I've got uncontrolled diabetes, blah, 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 and within a matter of months, if they have stuck around, their whole life is completely changed. A lot of their pain is dissipated because those muscles take over the job that their joints were, getting impacted by poor control. Their blood sugars are stabilizing. They're happier. So the mental health side of things is improved significantly. And so they're eating better, they're sleeping better, they're more productive in life, they're more active in their community. So that is one big barrier. Is people, we do see it a lot, that they do have that self-imposed barrier initially, and that's why we're there to support them and to encourage them and to inspire them to try to, just give it a few months, see where you're at. And quite often it's, if they do see it through that initial few months, is life-changing for them. But another barrier is, and this is why one of the reasons why I started gym is just there's not really the option out there with my age group that we target is there's just not the resources out there. There's not gyms out there that specifically target mature adults. So they probably don't want to go to another gym. They're intimidated. So that is one big barrier, unfortunately. But thankfully nowadays there is quite a few more popping up around the place. Even though they are competitors, that's fine. I think there's enough people in the demographic that we focus on that. There's plenty more gyms out there that can be, developed in the space of healthy aging.
Yeah. How much do you think a lot of the problems stem from, for people in your demographic and the people you work with, stems from like their mindset and the barriers they place in their head, like them limiting beliefs they have about themselves that are causing half the problems, like their health problems and health issues?
Yeah. Well, it's true just with any demographic, Ryan. But yeah, definitely, probably it's amplified with my demographic purely because if they've had those limiting beliefs for so long, they've really manifested, and it's hard for them to break free of them. So even say myself, for example, 10 to 15 years of of chronic pain because of being told by that many people that I basically couldn't do anything. I couldn't really be active at all. I had to be on, analgesics or antidepressants for the rest of my life just to maintain and control my pain. I believed that. So that gave me limiting beliefs. So, and, that it's not just me. This is this age group as well. Plenty of people are on medications. They're told by, I suppose, well-meaning people in the medical industry that they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that, they should take this medication. And quite often it's not the right thing for them to do. So so with my age group is that if they've had that for a long time, those beliefs, it's hard for them to be broken. They can be broken, but you got to actually have someone to help you. But you've also got to, believe in yourself that it is possible. You can live a better life than what you think you are capable of. It's it's tough, but you can do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Mm.
How does exercise help with a person's mental health?
Ooh, yeah, a lot. in a simple answer, yeah. Look, there's what's the saying? Look, I mean, how many times have you haven't felt 100%? You might feel a bit down for the day. You're just not happy for whatever reason. If I'm, we all have our, days that we're feeling great, our days that we, for whatever reason, we have, life's challenges get in the way. We don't feel that good. I go for a run or go and do an outdoor training session or go surfing. It's just that sort of the improvement initially in the mental health is, it's really, really profound. And then long term, if you're going to be consistent with your exercise programs, when you start to basically develop a healthier well, then the long-term mental health is so much better. Your mental health quite often can be a representation of your physical health, and it is a vicious cycle at times. But if you can force yourself to improve your physicality, quite often that mental health side of things will follow. It's so you get short-term benefits and long-term benefits, definitely.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for the audience about exercise and nutrition you can share with them?
Sure. Yeah. It just gets started. You might have heard the saying, how do you eat an elephant, which is one bite at a time. So I think a lot of people talk themselves out of exercising because, they're not fit or they don't want to do an exercise class because, they're not strong. That's why you go there. Everyone starts at different levels. There's no judgment. Get in there and just get it started. Starting really is the most challenging bit. The second most challenging bit is being consistent and keep going. So you just need to do something. The human being is designed, and the human body is designed to move every day. Now, this is something that I suppose I have learned myself over the years, that I used to believe that every time we trained, it had to be 100% intensity. It doesn't need to be that. So, for whatever reason, if you're not feeling 100% energetic on a particular day, just go for a walk. Go for a swim if you've got that opportunity in the ocean, or do something relatively light. Maybe do a light stretch session. You can always start. You can always do something, and you never regret starting. So I think that's probably a key point, is just to do something, because you're always going to feel better for it, even if you don't want to. Nutrition side of things. Yeah, look, I think nowadays there's a big push, which is great. I've done this for a while, is to really concentrate on whole foods. So, everyone's got a different, everyone has a different diet that probably is, would you say, more suitable for them. Can be a little bit of trial and error at times, but my belief is that good produce, sourced as close to the where it originally came from as possible. It's not non-adulterated. I mean, we haven't processed it, and eat clean, eat healthy, nutritious foods, and Yeah, definitely not a lot of sugar as well.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge you faced when you opened your fitness centers?
COVID. So I had, so I worked overseas at the time on the oil and gas facility, month on, month off. I used to fly, out in the middle of the ocean. I started my gym. I talked about it for years that I wanted to, start a gym specifically for older adults. And then I did. I got the lease. I did a lot of research, did a lot of the, pre-work leading up to the opening of the gym. And then that my lease for my first location was, I took that over in the 1st of January 2020. So I think it was about February, March 2020 that the world learned about COVID. So that was tough. So it was extremely tough. So we opened for a couple of months. We went into shutdown here in Sydney, and then we opened again, and we went into another shutdown, and it was tough. So that aside, just general business, we'll just say challenges. I think coming from, I burned the bridges. I did burnt the ships, you can be referred to as, where, I had a well-paying, secured job. Didn't give me any purpose. It was really boring. I didn't feel like I was really helping anyone, unless someone got sick or injured on the oil and gas facility. But I kind of just gave that up and went and started, doing something that I'm passionate about. And for the first year or two, there was plenty of times I'm like, what the hell have I done? It's, the bank account was a one-way street, and it wasn't incoming as well. So it was all outgoing. So, but and then kind of after time, that it was probably the majority of the week that I would be thinking, what the hell have I done? And then it probably came 3 or 4 days a week, what have I done? And it got to about 1 or 2 days a week going, oh my god, what have I done? Why did I start this business? And then thankfully now it doesn't happen all that often, except when I get all my bills in 1 week. So there's always challenges in business. You have to be resilient to be in business. I've done all sorts of things in my life that, I suppose you've had to prove yourself through resilience, and including, a lot of training with special forces. But that doesn't hold a candle to business. Business is far more challenging than anything I've done. But I love it. I would get really bored nowadays if everything was 100% smooth sailing. And in fact, even just thinking of being comfortable 100% of the time, that freaks me out. I cannot. Don't get me wrong, there's times I want to sit on the couch and eat ice cream and watch Netflix and be nice and warm and cozy, or whatever that may be, or lie in the sun and, read a book and drink a cocktail. But I can't do too much of that. That's the quintessential comfort zone. I need to be just on that little edge, teetering on that edge of, holy moly, what's going on here? Could I fail? Could I succeed? This is a little bit scary. That's where, for me, is a sweet spot where I want to be, whether that's business, whether that's, downhill mountain biking in New Zealand, whether that's jumping in the ring and, getting the hell beaten out of me, or, surfing big waves on a very sharp, shallow, nasty reef. So, yeah, I like being challenged.
I love it. That's a great story. So, if you don't mind me asking, why did it take you so long to kind of bet on yourself and go all in?
You're making me expose everything here, aren't you? It's a thing called fear. It's a thing called limiting beliefs. It's also procrastination. Not long before I actually opened my gym, I went through a breakup, and there was years that I felt I was following my partner around at the time. She was in the media, so we would live in all these different locations. I mean, I could live anywhere because I was working overseas, and when I came back to Australia, I wasn't really doing a lot. So I felt as I was kind of, to a certain extent, living, her life for her. And, I probably couldn't have started my gym because I was moving, around the place, and never really had that kind of home base for many years anyway. And then, when I went through that breakup, I'm like, you know what, I'm not getting a lot of fulfillment out of working overseas, apart from the financial side of things. So, and I just did it. It was an extremely challenging, couple of years because of all the other things that I've just mentioned. My health at the time, my lower back, I just had a spinal fusion a year or so before, so I wasn't able to really, well, I probably was, but I didn't do a lot of physical activity for quite a while. Then, went ahead and did the gym. So there's probably a few things that pushed me in the direction of actually doing it. But when I did, it was a white knuckle ride. Would I change that now? If I could, rewind life, I could rewind time and say, would I wish it to be smoother sailing? Hell no. Do I want to go through that again? Hell no. No, but I mean, it's made me more resilient. So I think, for anyone out there that wants to do something, wants to take that leap of faith, do it. You don't need to do what I did and quit your job and tell the boss what you thought of him on the oil rig. I actually did do that. Because I knew it wasn't going to be allowed back, and that was burning the bridges. You don't need to do that if you've got a job and you have and it's you're not kind of really fulfilling you. You want to start something different, like a side hustle. Do that. Start in a small way. Don't quit your job. Stay there. But there needs to be a point of time if you want to move forward in that side hustle and for that to become your main hustle. There needs to be a point of time that you get rid of that security blanket, throw it away, back yourself. And look, if, I don't like saying the word fail, but if you do, for some reason, have to shut that business, you've learned so much. Like if I had to shut my business nowadays, I could open another business nowadays because I've learned more in the last 5 years than I have in any other period in my life. There is nothing. You can do all the courses out there, read all the books, do all the, go to all the business or personal development seminars in the world, but there is absolutely nothing that will, give you that expedited education process around business and actually starting a business. So, yeah, it's a journey. It's a fun one. It's a challenging one. But I encourage anyone to actually to do it because there's plenty of people out there. I hear it now that I'm in business. I've got plenty of well-meaning friends out there that I'm smirking because I had one in the last couple of days that tells me a business plan for 2 hours, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't go and do it, And you really do. You need to walk the walk instead of just talking about it. Back yourself, because there's plenty of times out there that no one else is going to back you. If you back yourself and, prepare for it and prepare for the onslaught of challenges, well, you back yourself and give it a go.
Yeah. I love how it was the pain that led you to your purpose. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, the bigger the pain, the bigger the reward usually is on the other side.
Yeah, have it too. Then you can look back and, and once again, like I said, the challenging times I went through, I do not want them again. I felt like I was aging 3 times as fast as what I should have been. But what that taught me is, no degree or certification will ever, replace that.
Yeah. What does living life to the fullest mean to you?
Yeah, living life to the fullest. This is what I do myself. I don't do it to inspire other people, but I hopefully do inspire other people. Like I said, there was 10, 15 years that I really didn't do much at all. I was extremely out of shape. I was depressed. I was in pain. Life was boring. I didn't, do what I wanted to do. Like I'm an ocean baby. Whether I'm diving or paddleboarding or surfing, I didn't really do any of that. So now I've really flipped that on the head. I'm maybe a late bloomer in some respects. But I know now a lot of my training groups, I'm training with people that are 10, 15 years younger than me. And in a lot of cases, I'm, beating them. Not that it's competition, but it's nice to know that I can either keep up with them or really challenge them. And, I just want to inspire other people out there to, they don't need to be doing what I do. Unless you've got a certain skill set, you want to go and surf big waves and the like. But you can always be challenging yourself more. So that's what I hope to do more for other people, and I want to continue to do that for myself. So live life to the fullest at any age is my personal motto.
I love it. What keeps you pushing yourself to your limits every day?
Ooh, I don't know. It could be like an insecurity or something. I don't know. I love life. I love the challenges. And thankfully, I suppose some people do have that, or they don't. But I love that feeling of pushing myself. And there's some days I don't want to. And I don't think if there's anyone out there that can push themselves all day, every day, well, they're a freak. Give me some of that energy. But for me personally, I just love learning new things. I love putting myself in that position where I may or may not triumph at the end of it. I'm hopefully going to continue to do it for a long time because I'm always inspired by other people. There's always other people in whatever field better than you that I am inspired upon. So there's plenty of other things that I hope to achieve in the near future that other people are already doing. So I want to be constantly improving. Bit of ikigai.
Awesome. What are your short-term and long-term goals?
My short-term and long-term goals. So a few different short-term goals. My short-term goals, well, I'm going to New Zealand, like I said, in about 2 weeks, so I'll probably stay alive for starters. So short-term goals, I'm riding bigger waves, riding down bigger mountains. I want to inspire more people. I want to encourage more people. Long-term goals is to expand Active and Ageless, to move more into this space, to meet up with people like you, to try and get the message out there. There's a few other things that we're doing in the space of healthy aging. We're doing a joint venture next year where we're rolling out some online programs. I'm also in the process of developing. We've developed a lot of them, certain supplements and nutrition bars for active ages or mature adults. So want to kind of improve every day, challenge myself every day, short and long term, and really help people in the process to benefit from that.
Awesome. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm always happy to help anyone that's wants a bit of guidance around anything that I may do. But personal Instagram is I'm probably a late adopter with Instagram and just starting to really put stuff on there now. But that's Heath Jones 1.618, or Active and Ageless is our website. Our details are on there, or my personal email, heathjones14 @gmail. And happy to like I said, do things like this podcast with you or other shows. I really enjoy that, speaking to people such as yourself that are also a go-getter in life. So
Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
I think we've done pretty well. What else? I think my biggest thing in life is just teaching people and inspiring people that they're a lot more capable than what they are. So go out there and live life to the fullest. There's always something more you can do.
Yeah. Okay, final question. What is one piece of advice you'd like to leave our listeners with about overcoming adversity?
About overcoming adversity. Yeah. Limiting beliefs, everyone has them. That is one thing that is a certainty. It doesn't matter, we're going to see professional athletes or actors or whoever that may be, people that are extremely successful in many forms of life. Everyone has limiting beliefs, but whatever that voice is telling you, you're still going to push forward. No one else is going to make your life as good as you can make it. So don't outsource your happiness or your health. You got to take life by control, grab that bull by the horns, and live it, really.
Oh, great advice. Heath, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your story. And I love your purpose and how you're helping older people get fit and be more nutritious.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.
Well, guys, that's going to be all the time we have here today. Remember, the only way to get what you want is go through the fire.
Awesome.